Hey guys, it's Matt Fielder with MJF Guide Service giving you your July 22nd fishing report. Guys, the fishing is still pretty dang solid out there. If you can, get out there and brave the heat a little bit, fishing's still good. You do have to vary your baits a little bit sometimes on some schools, but they're still biting. The water level right now is at 917.42, which is a good sign. We're right there at, summer pool of 917. So that's really good. So we're back to normal pool. So what's happened now is those largemouth that were way up in the bushes, there's still, a few, if you're going in the rivers and stuff, that you can flip up. But a lot of those largemouth that we're using behind the cover is, to stay and eat and, use this cover, they can't do that anymore because there's not water behind the bushes like there was almost all summer until this point. So what that's done is it's drawn those largemouth out. They're starting to, get on timber, starting to get in brush piles. They're starting to get on just gravel points or rock piles. And you can kind of see that in your fishing. Like if you guys haven't been doing a lot of flipping and you guys have been fishing points and brush piles and you seem to have only been catching smallmouth and spotted bass all summer, now you're starting to catch some largemouth. So I've been seeing that a lot on my trips is, over the past few weeks, more and more largemouth have shown up and have been biting. So, the quality is also going up because those largemouth are showing up. Still, the number one bait for me, is still the jig right now. This is a 1/2 ounce Pee-Wee HD Football Jig. I've got it, in PB&J, Bass Whacker, and like green pumpkin orange have been my best colors. PB&J is my favorite, but Bass Whacker's been working really good as well as that green pumpkin with orange in it. Been really, really solid bait for me. I've caught the majority of my bass over the past couple of weeks on a football jig. That one's a 7/16 ounce, and I've also been throwing the 1/2 ounce in the HD. If you're wanting to get out deeper, say you're in Kimberling or by the dam, some of those fish are deeper, so they're 30, 35, 40. You're going to need to upsize and probably go to a 5/8 or a 3/4 ounce jig. If you're in some parts of Kimberling, you can get to that size jig right there. The 7/16 or the 1/2 ounce has been doing really good for me. Another bait that I've been throwing to some of those schools is a Berkley MaxScent hit worm. I'm throwing it on a Custom Cast Lures Shaky head, and I'm throwing it to the same bass that I'm throwing that football jig. Whether through brush piles, out on just regular points, to the bases of some trees where you can see some fish if you've got live scope, or even if you just got down skin or side skin, you can scan and see those fish at the bases of the trees, inside a brush, or just on regular gravel points. I've been catching a decent amount of fish on either, the Magnum Shaky head worm by Zoom or the Berkley MaxScent hit worm. But one thing's consistent is this Custom Cast Lures Shaky head. It's been doing good for me. Another bait that I've been throwing, to some of these schooling bass is a 10XD. Whatever your favorite color is, I've varied colors. I just throw whatever shad pattern. I look in my box, oh, that one looks good today. Tie it on, cast it out as far as you can. And the reason why I went up to an 8 or a 10XD style bait is because those bass are now a little bit deeper you know, a little earlier in the morning, you can get away with the 6XD because they may be in that 15 to 18 foot range. But as that sun starts to get up, they're sliding out a little bit further. So they're sitting 20 to 25 foot, depending on where you're at in the lake. And then, you know, if you're way up by the dam, they seem to be really deep. So I can't even throw that bait. But if you're in Kimberling, the White River, James, stuff like that, you can throw that bait. Another bait that I've been really, you know, catching a lot of fish on is a flutter spoon and a slab spoon. The Falcon Flutter Spoon by Dixie Jet is a really, really good spoon. It's got 3 treble hooks on it, one on both sides and one on the bottom. You know, I seem to lose less fish on that particular flutter spoon. They got them in at Modern Outdoor Tackle, so go check them out. Really good flutter spoon. This is flutter spoon time, guys, and as well as a jigging spoon. If you get around standing timber or you have a school of bass down there and you just can't seem to get them to bite, throw a spoon. It seems to trigger them and get them kind of active, and then you can go back in. You know, you may catch a few fish on one of the spoons, but then you can go back in and catch them on what you want to catch them with, whether that's a football jig, a crankbait, a hair jig, which has still been working, a Bass Tricks hollow belly 6-inch swim bait. It's been working really good as well. Now for guys that, you know, want to go more finessey, the cast Prodigy, this is a 3-inch. It's really good around the timber, guys. That one's an Ozark color. It's my favorite color. You know, you'll just throw it over the tops of some of these trees. They're really starting to load up on timber, especially on channel swing stuff. It's really good time to, you know, you can work on your forward facing sonar. It is tough. They don't always bite, but it seems like the paddle tail has been the better option instead of a straight tail minnow. So paddle tail over the minnow. The straight tail minnow right now has been working. Another bait that I've actually been leaning on quite a bit is this is a Zoom Ultra Vibe Speed Crawl, and I've been not only putting it on my, you know, jig as a trailer, but I've been putting it on a wobble head and on some of these schooling bass, especially on points. It's been wrecking them. So it's been a really good bait for me. You know, whatever your favorite wobblehead bait is, I'm sure they'll eat it. This one just has a lot of action, so that's why I like it. I've also been throwing a brush hog or a big boar on the wobblehead and getting quite a few bites. Now, if you can't seem to get any fish to eat any of those, you know, you can never go wrong with an old trusty robo worm. The best color that's been working for me lately has been Morning Dawn, or Aaron's Morning Dawn, or Aaron's Magic. Those are the 3 colors that have been the most consistent for me. So if I'm really in a pinch and I can't seem to get bit, I turn to that drop shot and start getting them, and typically it'll fire that school up, and then you can go back after them and start catching them on the jig again, the wobblehead, the flutter spoon, the jigging spoon, and the deep diving crankbait. So fishing's still good. You may have to move around a little bit, you know, change your angles. If you guys are interested in learning how to fish offshore, I'd love to be able to, you know, take you out, teach you. You know, reach out to me and love to get you on the water. If you guys are, you know, going fishing this week, good luck, guys. Fishing is all right. It hasn't gotten to the point where you shouldn't go fishing at all. So until next week, guys, thanks for watching. Reach out if you want to go fishing. Thank you.